Isn't it lovely? Aunt Maura got Ma's letter that Jack and I were getting married. And she went straight to her trunk, took out her wedding veil, and mailed it to me. So my first real present is family lace from Ireland.
Yes. My mother made this for Maura's wedding the year that Mary was born. I think it was the last lace she made before her eyes started to go.
Frank, look at the flowers. They're all worked by hand. Aren't they incredible?
Will you stand
I'm
still? You're going to get stuck.
It is lovely, Mary. It's almost worthy of you.
Aw, thank you, Francesco.
Dear Maura. Her with 6 huge boys and wanting a daughter with all her heart. Turn a little to the right, dear.
Like this?
That's right, good. We'll have to send her a picture.
Picture?
Oh! Oh, Ma! I'm sorry, darling.
Ma, I haven't done anything
I
about
told
a
you
photographer.
No, sure, it's done. You've got an appointment for your portrait, 8 a.m., the morning before the wedding, and he'll be there before Mass, and he'll stay for the reception.
Is she terrific?
So you're wearing Ma's blouse, huh?
Well, we're adding a skirt for propriety's sake. I think it needs a little more fullness in the back, and I'll add a bit of a train as I go on. Now, I have to do some marking.
I thought you were buying a dress.
Well, I tried on a dozen, but none of them seemed right. And then when I came home and found the wedding veil waiting, I remembered that Grandmother had made the lace for Mother's blouse, too. One thing led to another, and Ma thought she could do a skirt in time.
Oh, well, I'd like to run some of that lace if I could match it down the skirt.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, what a splendid excuse to call home. Megan's got Mother's trunk. She used to run this stuff off by the yard. What time would it be in Cork?
Well, I'd say a little after dinner.
Well, I'll try later.
You know, I'm really beginning to get in the spirit of things.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's about time.
I'm even feeling downright friendly toward my prospective brother-in-law. I think mainly because he asked Bob to be an usher.
He didn't.
Didn't you know?
He didn't say a word about it to me. When that happened?
Yesterday afternoon sometime.
Oh, I guess it was part of the same fit that produced the honeymoon tickets.
The stern-wheeler down the Mississippi.
How will you like that, baby,
I
huh?
love it, I love it.
Oh, Frank, would you get that, please?
Yeah, sure. It looks like the only one who can. Woo! Well, we were just talking about you.
I called the office. They said that Mary was here.
Oh, no, you can't come in.
I can't?
We're fitting my wedding dress, honey.
No, it's the worst possible luck for the bride to be seen in her wedding dress or any part of it before the wedding.
I just thought that maybe we'd have some lunch.
Oh, honey, I can't. We're gonna be a while, and then I gotta get back to the station. I still got to put together half of tonight's news.
Let me take you downstairs and buy you a corned beef sandwich and a roll with a beer, huh?
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
I love you.
See you later.
I love you.
Mom, I think I'll be at headquarters. I gotta pick up my messages. Remind me to do that, will you, Jack?
Great.
Why such a sad face?
Oh, not sad. I was just wondering.
Well, while you're sitting there wondering, why don't you run this lace around the edge of this handkerchief?
What's it for, Ma?
No respectable bride would go to an altar without a handkerchief. In case you got a little dust in her eye. Oh, it should have been blue.
Why?
Well, you have something old, my blouse. You have something new, this skirt. You have something borrowed, Aunt Maura's wedding veil. And now you need something blue. If we're going to do this wedding, we should do it right.
Well, we'll find something else blue. Ma,
Darling, what?
I was just wondering, do you think Frank and Kathleen and Pat and Trevon each think they're your favorite, too?
I beg your pardon.
Well, I know all that stuff you used to tell us about loving us equally but differently, each for him or herself.
Well, that was true as far as it went. Children don't like things complicated.
And I never minded sharing you with Frank, because what was Frank's was mine, and vice versa for all those years. And I knew you depended on Kathleen because she was so responsible. Patrick made you laugh. Siobhan was the baby. But you know, I always believed deep down inside that I was the one you really loved best. And it just occurred to me, I'll bet they all felt the same way, too. How'd you ever manage it?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope it's true. I mean, it probably helps us all to start out in life believing that our mothers think we're the most splendid person in the world. So many things happen to us later in life. But you know, darling, it's true. You're very special to me. I think that's because we're so much alike.
Do you think we are?
Oh, are we ever? That's why I got so mad at you. I would get madder at you than I would at Kathleen or Siobhan. Your faults and failures were always my faults and failures. The thing that upsets us most, I think, in other people are the things we dislike in ourselves. Oh, your adolescence was perfectly awful. I found myself staring myself in the eye. I wonder, how did we ever survive it?
I know how. In the end, you trusted me.
Yeah. You know what my mother used to say about that? She used to say, it's easy to break rules. It's harder to break trust.
Your mother was right.
Yes.
And that's exactly why I think it's all going to be all right for Jack and me in the end. I trust him to love me enough. He knows that I trust him. And he won't break trust. You know, once we pass the actual marriage, I think everything's going to be fine.
Darling, you keep saying that. What's fine?
Well, I have a very clear idea in my head of what life with Jack is going to be like. I wonder if it's anywhere near right.
Well, it's not as if you're buying a pig in a poke, you know.
That's true.
How do you see it?
Well, both of us working and loving what we do. Me learning a lot from him because he's really very generous about sharing what he knows.
I think most men are, aren't they?
Going with him when he's covering stories where I wouldn't be in the way. Entertaining a little. His friends from the paper, city government, sports people he hangs around with. And I don't know, Mom. Just being together. That's the best part of it. Staying in bed all morning on weekends with the paper and a pot of espresso and hugging and kissing. Just loving each other.
And do you see all this happening in Jack's same apartment?
Well, for the time being, anyway. It's small, but it's wonderful. I love the river, foghorns, and the ships.
And what about children?
Oh, I don't think right away. Before you and Al got married, did you have any idea what it would be like?
Oh, yes. And nothing turned out the way I expected it.
Oh, really?
Oh, no. How could I? At 16, imagine what New York City would be like. I'd been once to Dublin, twice to Cork. I'd spent all my life in a place where my family and friends and school and church were all within a half-hour's distance along roads that I knew as well as I knew the back of my own hand. I knew all the trees and all the stones and 6 generations of the neighbors' animals. The whole parish knew me. There was no way in the world for me to imagine what life across an ocean was going to be like, except for one thing.
What was that?
I knew John Ryan, and I knew that he loved me. Oh, I hope your life with Jack is everything that you think it's going to be, and more.
But you're still worried, aren't you, Mom?
Well, it's a mother's job to worry. You be happy.
Hiya.
Well, hi. Well, now, Mrs. Ryan, it's being rumored that your daughter is going to be the most beautiful bride in the history of Riverside.
Well, whoever reported that rumor was
Where's-
perfectly right.
Where's Jack?
He went off to do something about getting some clothes for the wedding, I hope. You both would have been terribly proud of me. I was terrifically nice to that kid.
Well, good for you.
Listen, I gotta get back to the station. Besides doing tonight's news, I gotta make sure there's gonna be somebody there to cover while I'm on my honeymoon.
Oh, I would do that if I were you.
Da, have you heard anything about Seneca?
Jill called. She said they expected the jury back this afternoon.
Let me know if you hear, will you?
Oh, sure,
we will,
sweetheart.
dear.
Ma, Thanks for the dress and all.
You know you're welcome.
I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Where's Frank?
Oh, he's gone to meet Delia and her friend Sheila at Lem's.
Aha.
I don't understand, Mr. Ryan.
I got a message at my headquarters to meet Dee and Sheila here after their cooking lesson.
I haven't given Mrs. Ryan a cooking lesson.
You haven't?
No. And who is Sheila?